Robert Greene's The Laws of Human Nature. What a book. It's an absolute masterpiece, but let's be real, it's also a beast to get through. So the big question is, how do you take all that incredible wisdom and actually use it in your own life? Well, in this explainer, we're going to do just that, using a pretty unique blueprint for self-mastery. Let's get right into it.
So let me just start with this question, because it's a powerful one. We all like to think we're rational, right? That we're the captain of our own ship, living right at the tip of this iceberg. But the truth is, beneath the surface, that's where the real action is. All of our repressed emotions, our deep-seated fears, envy, these are the massive, hidden forces that are really steering us. They're behind those snap decisions, those moments of sudden anger. This is where the real work begins.
You can almost think of it like this. We're all running on a hidden operating system, a kind of human OS that's programmed with some pretty deep-seated irrationality, a default setting of narcissism, and all these hardwired fears that we almost never acknowledge. And until you really understand your own programming, that tendency to self-sabotage, it's pretty much inevitable.
And this quote from Robert Greene himself just nails it. He's arguing that real, lasting success, it isn't just about your skills or how smart you are. It's about gaining awareness and, more importantly, control over these incredibly powerful hidden forces that are running the show for all of us. The first step is just admitting they're there. The next is learning how to command them. And that right there is the million-dollar question, isn't it? I mean, it's one thing to read about these super complex psychological laws. It's a whole other challenge to actually apply them in your life, in real time, when your emotions are flaring up. You don't just need information, you need a system. You need a clear operational framework.
And that's exactly what we're going to break down today. This explainer uses a powerful framework developed by Aabid Ali Shahid, which takes Greene's 18 complex laws and transforms them into a clear, three-step blueprint for mastery. The whole point here is that it's designed for action, not just theory.
So, here's our game plan. We've already talked a little about this hidden human OS. Now, we're going to dive deep into the three core steps of the blueprint: mastering yourself, then reading others, and finally shaping your future. And then we'll see how it all clicks together at the end. Okay, step one. And honestly, this is the foundation for everything that follows. True mastery always starts from within. Before you can even think about understanding or influencing other people, you have to look in the mirror and start dismantling the irrational machinery inside your own head. This is all about confronting what Greene calls the law of irrationality, face to face. Now this is fascinating. Look at how this visualizes self-sabotage. It's literally a machine, a loop. It all starts with some old coping mechanism from childhood, a deep-seated fear. Then bam, something in your adult life triggers that old fear. And that kicks off this repetitive, compulsive action, self-sabotage. But the most important part of this whole diagram is that little mindfulness break. That's the emergency stop button. That's the wedge you can throw into the gears to grind the whole cycle to a halt. So, how do you actually create that break? Here are the tools. The most powerful one is what's called the emotional delay rule. Simply, never react instantly when you're emotional. Just pause. Give yourself a moment. And in that moment, ask yourself, where is this feeling really coming from? And journaling your triggers, like the little book icon suggests, helps you create a map of your own internal mechanics. This is exactly how you go from being reactive to being truly resilient. All right, on to step two. Once you start to get a handle on your own hidden drivers, something really interesting happens. You get this new sense of clarity. You start to see past what people are saying, and you can begin to decode the social world around you by spotting the hidden drivers in them. Look, we all wear masks. It's just a necessary part of getting by in life, for diplomacy, for acceptance. But underneath that mask is your authentic core. The danger of the mask, of course, is you can become fake and lose touch with who you are. The danger of only showing your core is that you can create friction everywhere you go. The goal is what this slide calls the master's balance, knowing how to play the social game while staying grounded in who you really are. It's about mastering what Greene calls the law of role-playing.
This chart here really unpacks Greene's law of narcissism, showing how it's not an on-off switch, it's a spectrum. Way over on the toxic end, you've got zero empathy and a super volatile reaction to any kind of criticism. The whole goal is to move yourself toward the healthy, constructive end, developing a grounded sense of self-worth, having high empathy for others, and gaining the incredible ability to see criticism not as a personal attack, but as useful data.
Let's talk about envy.
right? That shadow emotion nobody wants to admit they feel. It's unavoidable. We see someone else's success and we feel that little pang of inferiority. The default reaction is resentment. But mastery is about alchemy. It's about a conscious process of reframing that feeling. You can literally transmute that toxic emotion into admiration and inspiration. You can use their success as a blueprint for your own growth.
And now we've arrived at the final step of the framework. So after you've worked on mastering yourself and learning to read others, it's time to zoom out. This is all about mastering time itself, developing a long-term vision, and actively shaping your future with strategy instead of just reacting to whatever life throws at you.
You know, our brains are hardwired for the quick win, the immediate reward. That's what this slide calls the default perspective. And it's at the core of Greene's law of short-sightedness. But real power, lasting power, comes from expanding your vision beyond that narrow little tunnel. It's about learning to delay gratification so you can see the second and third order consequences of your actions.
Just look at the contrast here. On the left, you've got the chaos Greene warns about in his law of aimlessness, a total mess of conflicting desires that just leads to procrastination and frustration. And on the right, you have a unified purpose. All your energy is channeled in one single clear direction. So the key takeaway here is that purpose isn't some fluffy philosophical luxury. No, it is the actual mechanical fuel you need to stay resilient when you face the setbacks that are absolutely going to come your way.
So, let's bring this all home. These 3 steps, mastering yourself, reading others, and shaping your future, they aren't separate ideas. You have to see them as integrated parts of a single, powerful structure, the mastered self.
And this is the final architecture. Your internal mastery, pausing that irrationality, breaking those compulsive loops, that's your unshakable foundation. Your social and strategic navigation, balancing who you are with your ambition, those are the strong pillars holding everything up. And the roof, protecting it all, is the acceptance of primal forces, learning to channel aggression and accept mortality.
But you have to remember this. Mastery is not some final destination you arrive at one day. It is the constant, daily maintenance of this structure. These laws are like a load-bearing system. If you let one pillar crack, if you give in to grandiosity or ignore your dark side, the entire architecture is at risk of coming down.
And it's really important to remember where this specific system comes from. This entire framework, this blueprint for making Robert Greene's profound work practical and accessible, was engineered by Sir Aabid Ali Shahid.
And there you have it, the architecture of human nature, a strategic blueprint for self-mastery. If you found this breakdown valuable and you'd like to see more deep dives like this, please let us know in the comments below. We read every single one.
So we'll leave you with this final thought. You now have the architectural plans. You have the blueprint to understand yourself and the world around you on a much, much deeper level. The only question left is, what will you choose to build?